Hey everybody, Mark Herman, aka LA Bengals fan on most of the major platforms. I'm joined here, as always, by super fans Devin Circus and Heath Goldman, and this is the week one recap of Jungle Talk. And I know it's very anticlimactic. Listen, this team will drive you to drink. Heath has a glass. I'm going to throw mine back. Drown my sorrows.
I was going to ask if we're allowed to drink on these things. I'm glad to know we are.
I already checked. This is not for kids, so you are welcome to drink. Legal stuff in your state, please. Let's.
Hey, real quick though. Here's to Mr. Herman's 60th tomorrow, though. On a very serious note.
You know,
happy birthday, brother. I wish they could have brought home a victory for you.
Thank you. Last year it was actually on my birthday, and I said all I want is for us to beat the Steelers, and we hurt our long snapper, miss an extra point, miss a field goal, and so next year, I guess. But if there's a saving grace, guys, no injuries. Okay. I mean, the Browns lost probably an offensive lineman for the year in this because of that field. Nothing dirty. It's just that's football. But we escape here, and we were 0-2 last year and made it to the AFC Championship. So we'll talk about some of the decisions and what's that?
The other saving grace?
Yeah.
We don't have to go back to Cleveland for over 375 days.
There you go. So, we had concerns. We talked about on the preview. Devin, you and I and Jake talked about the biggest signing we thought was Schwartz. We thought this was going to be a vastly improved defense, and we knew that Joe was going to be rusty. And I mean, I hate to quote Tomlin, but I want to go back to something that he said during the preseason. He goes, "You can't shoot a movie without having rehearsals." And so these guys have to take the field. I love the analogy because it's right. I mean, it's not live TV when you're making a movie, and you can't just show up and get it on the first take. And that's kind of when you skip the preseason, that's where you're at. So I know it's a teeter-totter of risk, but gosh, the first half, 2 delay of games, an illegal formation, motion. I mean, all these, just not enough guys on the line. I mean, just that's not playing in preseason.
I understand that Joe had to sit. I mean, that there was a reason that we sat him in the preseason, but the offensive line never had a snap together, if I'm not mistaken. Right. And you know what? It looked like it.
I don't think that's snap period. I think they played one series. I think the starting offensive line only played that first series against Atlanta. I think that's the only thing they played. But so I'm going to go devil's advocate. I don't disagree, but watching the Chiefs Lions game the other night, and I was listening to it, and Jared Goff looked awful the first drive and started to get a little better the second drive. Jared Goff didn't play at all the preseason, and they talked about it on the broadcast, and they said Jared Goff admitted that he was going to be a little rusty the first drive and got it going the second, and they wind up beating the Chiefs. Now, granted, I'm not saying Jared Goff won the game or they won, but I think the numbers 8 or 9 quarterbacks didn't play at all in the preseason. Look, I don't know if that's the reason. The weather was awful. The conditions were terrible. Cleveland had the same conditions we did. But I will say that Joe Burrow never looked comfortable, never looked confident. He didn't throw a good pass the whole day. The only thing Jamar caught was underneath, and T. Higgins had 0 receptions on the game.
He kept trying to work T into the game and just could not make the connection.
But it was never close. I was just about to say that, Devin. The balls to T were unbelievable. Now, I want to ask one quick question. I don't beg for calls, Dev. That's one thing Devin and I have always talked about. I don't beg for calls. The one pass, I thought that should have been pass interference when he went into T's chest, with never looking back on the ball on the right sideline in the third quarter. I don't understand how that wasn't. And that's about the only one where I look back at this game and go, you know what? I thought we deserved that one, because that one puts us 25 yards down the field.
Right.
I don't remember it. I mean, I know we got
T's backing up. T's backing up. Yeah. T's backing up, and the defender never turns around, and he ends up sticking his arm up because he's probably looking at T's eyes, and he tips the ball, but he's pushing T back the whole time. I think if T kind of tries to come forward for it, then he gets the flag. But I think because he never initiated the contact to come back to the ball, he was
getting pushed backwards.
I understand.
I remember that one. That was Delpit. The safety came over.
Yes, exactly.
That was clean.
Yeah. I actually thought it was a good no call because it was consistent with what they'd let us get away with. So I was okay with the no call. But the bottom line is, because we won the turnover battle, we didn't make plays. We
went
didn't
3
make
and out
plays.
every time we got a turnover.
So
At one point, there was a stat that the punter had 7 punts to Joe Burrow's 6 completions.
yeah,
You're not going to win a game. You're not going to win a game that
no.
way.
So
And I will tell you, I know he's supposed to be very good. And I know he won the battle, the rookie, but that punter did not look good today. And I understand the conditions, but their punter looked really good.
well, we'll see. Listen, I want to temper everything.
One preseason game, right?
This is one. Well, this was our preseason game. Unfortunately, it counts against us on the regular season schedule. So,
but more importantly, it counts us against us in the division.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's one game. So we come back next week. I just my biggest beef with Zach today was not going for it at the 37 on a 4th and 2 when that 4th down immediately turns into points. We have an opportunity.
Are you talking about when they attempted the 51-yard field goal and missed?
No. I'm talking about in the first half when we were inside, we were at the 37 and we punted. It was a 3-0 game, and I thought if you're going to go for a 4th down, I always say I want to go for 4th downs when it can immediately, that first down leads to a scoring opportunity, and that's what that would have done. Going for it with 11:39 left or whatever it was, I mean, you're basically gambling the entire game on this one first down, and it doesn't immediately leads to points. It just keeps your offense out on the field. So I probably would have reversed those two, be aggressive in the first half and not throw in the towel there.
I didn't have a problem with that one because it was a field position game. The conditions were worse in the first half than the second half.
Right.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You absolutely can go for that 4th and 2 from the 37. I didn't have a problem with it because it was a and granted the punt went into the end zone, so we didn't even gain that much.
Netted 17 yards off it.
Right. I had a real problem with I think it was 3rd and 8. I don't remember what quarter it was. Whenever we missed the 51-yard field goal, probably the 3rd quarter.
Right.
3rd and 8, going deep for, I believe that was Higgins. I believe that was the Delpert play we just talked about.
Yeah.
And sets up for, you're not going to go 4th and 8, and they attempt a 51-yard field goal. I would have rather a run or a screen play or something short.
Knock 5 yards off.
On 4th down, because I believe it was a 10-3 game at the time there. And that was an opportunity where they need to be a different type of aggressive. They were aggressive and went for a 30-yard gain to get inside the 10. I would have rather been more aggressive to try and get a first down, run on 3rd to set up a shorter 4th down. But a 51-yard field goal in those conditions, that's less than a coin flip.
Yeah,
that's money time for McPherson most of the time too. I mean, he had a clean snap and a clean.
But it was a 10-3 game. I mean, what's a field goal doing there? You got to do something different.
Well, no, but I agree with Devin in that when we got our first field goal, we decided just, hey, let's knock 5 yards off. Let's make it a 42-yarder. If Irv Smith can stretch out, he stretches out. We get the first down. If not, at least it's a more manageable field goal. We make a play there where we get that down to 44-yard field goal instead of a 51. McPherson probably makes that, especially in the weather. So, and I think that was an important one because it would have kept the momentum going. We would have scored on our first 2 possessions of the 3rd quarter after enforcing the 3 and out to start the quarter. So it's a game of flow and all that, and we were just never there.
Right. No, I don't know if I'm right. I don't know if I'm right that it was 10-3 at that time. But if I am right, it was 10-3 and we missed that field goal and we could have done things differently to try and get a first down. That's when I think the game ended.
Yeah. So it's a frustrating game to watch, guys. This was a tough one. We talked about it. I mean, I had us winning by 3. I think you had us winning by 6. Jake actually picked the upset. He said, I like the Browns this week, everything kind of, and he was right. And it shows you that when, we'll go against our team if that's what we think. Yeah. So, we're not being paid by the networks and we're not being paid by the Bengals. So we're going to tell you what we think. We're using this. So, because this we always want. I always, with my heart, I always want this team. So
I agree. So can I switch it up a little bit?
Yeah.
Take the last 20 minutes out of the game. I thought the defense did a phenomenal job. Yeah. We got a bunch of sacks, a ton of pressure on Watson. Look, Nick Chubb could run for 80 to 100 yards against any team in the NFL on any given day, so he's going to get his. I thought we did a really good job, and just there's only so much you can do when the offense is doing absolutely nothing.
The only reason we were in this game was because of the defense. Even with the botched 2-minute defense at the half, because it should have been 3-0 going into the half.
Or 6-0.
Yeah. But even with the botched thing, the only reason this game was close for the first 3 quarters was our defense. They won the turnover battle and we lost the game.
I don't disagree with either one of you guys. The one thing I will say that bothered me, our containment was nothing great. Because we had watching, chasing, and everything else. Sometimes he went for some big yards, and that we lost containment. Hubbard lost bad containment on one play that I remember. Those are just things you got to clean up because you force the action in the middle. You can't let him go bouncing and taking 20 or 30 yards.
Well, but other than the touchdown and then the fourth quarter, I don't know that he did. I don't remember him doing a lot. I thought our containment was good outside of the touchdown and once the game was over.
Yeah. Hubbard got picked. I remember one because I looked at Mark and I said Hubbard gave up the containment on the one, and it was about a 24-yarder on third.
He got blocked down out of the play, and that opened it up because Hubbard's job is to force it back into Reeder and Hill. So
I forgot about that one.
But I think you're right. I mean, you didn't hear Logan Wilson's name that many times. He had a lot of tackles, which means he was pretty coming up and making those tackles, for short gains and everything else. I'll tell you what, Awuzie played pretty damn well considering he hasn't played in 10 months. CTB had some big plays. Dax Hill
had a great play early on.
Dax Hill showed us that we may have made the right decision with letting Bates go.
Oh, you don't hate Dax Hill anymore, Heath?
No, I just said that somebody that's picked that high should be able to at least come in and play the game a little bit. I mean, he was lost. He was
making the 1,000,000% wrong on him last year.
He's making the jump. He showed signs at the end of the year when he started getting more playing time, but when your leading tacklers are, you've got Pratt, Wilson, Hill, and Scott. I mean, you don't want your safeties and 2 linebackers. Where's the defensive lineman making tackles? But they were already past him. So Logan Wilson, I think I have him in. We have individual defensive guys. He was over 10 points in the first half with assists and tackles. So half tackles. So. Just a frustrating game. It's just remember, it's one game.
Absolutely. Yeah, but here's the problem with that one game. You got to come home next week and beat a pretty good Baltimore team in the division again, because you can't be 0-2 in the divisions is problematic.
Listen, we win next week.
We said that last year too.
Listen, we win next week. Chances are all 4 teams are going to be 1-1.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't Pittsburgh
Cleveland?
Pittsburgh plays Cleveland. We beat Baltimore. Pittsburgh beats Cleveland. Everybody's 1-1. And in week 3, we restart the start of the season. And that's kind of where I'm hoping we're going.
You guys saw that Dobbins is out for the year, right? Torn Achilles.
Knee again?
Torn Achilles.
Wow. That got cancer.
Can't get a break.
We always say the most important ability is availability. So
I love that kid too.
All right. So next week, I'm telling you, 1-1. We're going to go into week 3. Everybody's going to be 1-1. We're going to take care of business. You saw Zach. Let's just get on the bus and not have a Conklin injury. Okay. I mean, that's the whole thing. Let's get these 5 linemen on the bus. Let's talk about something positive. About an hour after we recorded on Thursday, the Burrow news hits with the extension. So essentially, we have locked up the quarterback for the next 7 seasons.
7 years.
He's got 41 million over the next 2 years based on his other contract. We had 5 at 55 per at the back end. So that's the next 7 seasons, takes us to the end of 29, which is what we wanted as Bengal fans. We want to know that Joe is the face of the franchise and locked in. And Joe gets his $100 million right away and his $220 guaranteed, and it's all good. So now let's just get a Higgins deal done, and we'll go from there. But that was really positive news.
You're not going to see that until next offseason at best.
We'll probably wind up franchising him.
We got plenty of time to talk about it, but I think he gets franchised, and then I think he goes. I don't see it as a contract.
Well, like I said, it's the same thing. There's no animosity if Higgins winds up leaving ultimately, and we have him for 1 more year after this. There's no animosity. He understands it. There's no animosity with Bates. Bates knew he wasn't going to get paid.
Right.
One thing
saw the interview after the Atlanta preseason.
They need to handle it differently than Jesse, but it's going to wind up being the same thing, I think.
Well, we'll see, because obviously Chase is getting his contract ripped up next year.
But with that being said, Devin, you handle it differently. I think to a large degree it has to do with his agent too, that wanted to handle it in the media too. Wasn't the Bengals that did anything about that? That was a lot of that agent.
I agree. And if I'm not mistaken,
it's the same agent.
Correct me if I'm wrong. T. Higgins' agent is
Deshaun
same as Bates,
agent, right?
No, same as Bates.
Same as Bates.
Oh, same as
It's
Bates.
the same agent as Bates.
So we'll see how that one plays out.
But it's a lot of it's up to the player. So
the one thing I want to finish on that you also said, yes, obviously we tied up Joe, but you got Logan Wilson, you got Pratt, you've got you had a lot of those players that have been tied up. The real core of this team is tied up, and now we're going to go. Chase is going to get his, but we've got a lot of talent tied up.
Yeah, our core players are all taken care of. Pratt was a signing I didn't expect. Logan Wilson I did expect. But the fact that we got our 2 linebackers who were our top 2 tacklers today, by the way, 1 and 2. Pratt had 8. I'm looking at the 8 and 2, and Wilson had 6 and 2. So your top 2 tacklers are locked in. Now the core players. Burrow, Brown's tied up. Hendrickson extended his contract a couple of years. I mean, all the pieces. Hubbard's already got his extension. Our key pieces are all locked in for 3 or 4 years. So this is the time to win a Super Bowl.
And the part that I like is up until last year, we said the offense was built through the draft and the defense was built through free agency with guys like Hilton, Awuzie dropping off. But look what they've done in the draft. CTB, DJ Turner, Jordan Battle, Dax Hill. So they're backfilling. And so that if Hilton, because I think Awuzie comes off this year, Hilton the following year, it's already backfilled. Like this team has a freaking plan on the future. And I know that's not what we're here to talk about today, but
we didn't have much to talk about today. We might as well talk about the future.
Yeah, I got ribs on the smoker that I got to take off right about now. So
there you go. All right, well,
save contracts for another day.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to end on something positive. It was something where we were an hour ahead. We kept looking. You said you were watching your phone while you were filming to see if something broke. I mean, we knew Bosa got his thing announced the day before, and they kind of didn't say anything. And then they decided to do it, after the kickoff. They let the kickoff happen. Somebody on Twitter made a big thing about Mike Brown's a jerk because he waited till it took steam away from the opener. He waited till the game was underway before they made that announcement. I think
it might have been a couple minutes before, Mark.
But it's still, they had their whole hype. The game's happening. It's not like he did it soon.
But yeah.
So, listen.
Mike Brown, hey, let's be honest. Mike Brown's not that smart to figure that out.
And Mike Brown had nothing to do with it. It would be Katie Blackburn and Troy and the other people. So that's been the change of fortune. So, all right, well, if you don't subscribe, please subscribe. This is a show by fans, for fans. We are very organic. We do it in one shoot. We give you everything right after the game. So subscribe. Hit the bell so you get the alerts. Give us the thumbs up on YouTube. So it helps us with the YouTube analytics. We'll be back with the preview. Devin, you'll be there. Heath, we'll keep you on the invite if you want to jump in. But me, Jake, and Devin will be here on Thursday. We will preview the Baltimore game. It's Ratbird week, guys, and this is a game we got to win. So.
Mark, it's not Ratbird week. It's Dirty Ratbird week.
Dirty Ratbird week.
And happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.
Have a great day tomorrow.
Thanks. Hoo day, everybody. We'll see you on Thursday.
All right.
Hoo day.